fuck, fuck everything. Just fuck everything, bhai. मेरे को बहुत चीज़ें करनी है. I want to be that, like, so well read, so well versed in everything about the history, art, culture, philosophy, and all the theories and all the news and everything. And then at the same time be the quirky one, like nerdy and obsessive and loud in my personality. At the same time, I want to be that elegant, beautiful, like geishas, like the elegance of a geisha, if you understand. I was watching this show, and I saw and I understood that the elegance of it matters. The elegance of it matters. And I want to look back to our own culture and my own culture, about my own religion, about my own country, because I think I am the most average consumer in this capitalistic world, because I consume what I get. I hardly dig deep, and but I want to find the real essence, because what I'm consuming, like any sort of media or art or product, anything that I'm consuming, I don't think so it comes from a very deep. It might seem like, but it's not. It's very surface level. So I want to dig deeper into this, and I want to uh, find taste, develop my personality to max. And I always had this question, like, hyper individualism is not something that you can fit with a society, but I feel like in Indian society there's enough space for you, because other people don't have taste. Yeah, okay. So you can fit right in. There's enough space that you can take. But I still feel that if you are like hyper individualistic, you might not find a crowd. You might not like have a social setting where you fit in, especially Indian families or something. But I don't know, it has to make sense, because I can dull down, I can like tone myself down and be someone that I'm not, or like live up to the morals which sound stupid. Because see, I believe in my own culture. I am currently, at least like right now, I am a little more biased towards going like exploring your own roots. But at the same time, I feel like the routes where I am going are nothing. They are just like, they're just filtered out bullshit after the colonial era. So I want to go before it. I want to see before it. And right now, the morals that I'm following, I don't think so it's right, and I don't think so it fits with the society and the dreams that I've set for myself. Because for that, I need to explore beyond my boundaries that society is allowing me to have as of now. and and it might be westernization, which I absolutely genuinely do not like. The term westernization, I don't know, I just feel like you might call me super defensive about this, but it's true. Like, capitalism was never part of our culture, from what I feel. Not in that way, like unregulated capitalism was not part of it, but that's how it all works. And I think it works like you can play the game like anybody can in that way. I don't know, I just feel like their culture makes sense, their way of life, the basic values does make sense. But at the same time, I'm super protective of what I have grown up with, and it feels like very nostalgic to let it go, and I feel super defensive about it. But I'm pretty sure it's not serving me anymore. It is holding me back. And but if it is something that's true and has essence, so the more forward I go in my life, I think if it is something of value, it will come back. Like it, no, it will just shine through it, because I know that I want to hold on to it, but only when it is working in my favor. So if it is working in my favor, it will come through. Whatever you want does come if it is good for you. So एक तो ये चीज़ है. एंड आई फील लाइक देयर हाइपर individualism, at least I feel like when you die, I feel like that's something that I am, I don't know, I have that's something that I have grown up with too. Like that too is something that I have watched. And I'll tell you what, the first story that I ever, like first show that I ever watched, like series, was this show called Fosters. And I feel like that was my introduction to a Western life. Before that, I've read so many novels and so many things, but novels are very hyper focused into telling you what's happening, not showing you what's happening. Okay, so that's very different, and you still have a lot of authority over how you are picturing it in your own head and how you're interpreting it in your own head. Whereas in movies, it's a lot more, it calls lot less energy from you, and lots of there's not much rain for you to add your own speculations. Okay, so I watched that series Fosters, and that shaped a lot of things for me in after like watching it. And I still didn't understand that, and that was, I'll tell you, at the time when that Geo phone came about, and then Geo started. So that was way back, and at that time I didn't understand any of it. I genuinely didn't understand ki how can a parent let their child choose a career which is like, what, Juliet, he wants to play piano and that's going to be his career. And I'm like, excuse me, that didn't make sense to me at all. And it was like, I still do not believe that's possible in India. I don't know how, like, at least from where I come, I don't understand. I was never given an opportunity to explore anything other than academics. I always had an affinity towards like music. I liked it, and I have this hate relationship with dancing. So I do want to explore dancing at some point so that I can overcome the fear of dancing. And I felt like there are only 3 kinds of hobbies that you can have. One is painting, one is dancing, and one is music. And the 4th one is, yeah. So I was talking about sports. So yeah, I hated sports because I feel like that is not something that I'm made for. I have this very yeah, I don't know if it was just social conditioning or if it was really, but I don't feel that I have an affinity towards physical activities much. So I did find my recluse, what do you call it, recluse, I don't know the word, but it starts with a R and it has some L in it. Respite, I don't know, what will that word be? So whatever that word is, fine. So I found that like my safe space in the library, and I felt कि ठीक है, okay, I'm finding something. Okay, there's a funny story why I went to the library, because I was like, okay, I got influenced for some silly reasons, but thanks to that I found my love for books. Now, it started with a love of literature, and I liked reading books, then it slowly became a way to escape my life, because I feel like my life had zero life in it, no essence of life. There was no fun, there was no, maybe I was not creating the fun. I don't know. I just didn't see a way. I just felt like, honestly, this is very similar to that elephant story where the elephant, like, उनका पैर बांध देते हैं बहुत बचपन में, and then when they grow up they can easily break away the rope, but they don't believe it. So I feel like I am in that state right now, because I can see the freedom is right outside. I just don't know how to get it. Like, I know the rope can be broken, but my body won't try. And because I don't know how do I break that rope. Like, I just pull on it, like in literal sense. I don't know what to do, because I know that I am in a situation like that. I just have to burst a bubble. It's as simple as that, but I don't see the way. It doesn't seem possible in my brain, and my brain is not expanded enough for that. My consciousness is not big enough for that, and it won't accept that. So anyways, that aside, we were at the books, so I read, and then as with any kind of obsession, it starts with something that you like and slowly turns into something that you need, and then it becomes, it just overpowers every other thing in your life, and then it becomes like, it can keep going, like twisted, dark, bad, just goes down the drain. Okay, so how does things keep peaking and not saturate? Because it has to, because you're growing, so you need more of it. As with any addiction, it starts with fun, it starts with easy, and then things can go bad. So that's what happened with me when I started reading. I started reading as a form of growing myself, learning more, and I definitely did. I definitely learned a lot, and that helped me improve my vocabulary, but more than that, my way of understanding emotions, dealing with emotions, and just everything, ins and out of emotions. That's it. So I dealt with emotion was my thing. So any barter, any social interaction I had, it was all based on emotion, even with myself. So logic took a step back in my life. Okay, so it was on the back seat, and emotions just ran the show, because they were like level 50, whereas my logic was on level 2. So whatever's advanced is going to deal with it. Like, if you are playing game and you have like two tools, एक आपके पास तलवार है और एक आपके पास let's say बंदूक है, but you keep upgrading the तलवार. Okay, even though you know that's not the most efficient one for the later use, but बंदूक is, but you have level 1 बंदूक and you have level 50 तलवार, you are forced to use the talwar in a situation where it would be a gunfight, but you have like useless weapons. So my EQ is very high, like very high. I think that makes me socially awkward, because it's like weird. You know what the person's gonna say next, you understand why they did that bullshit, and you're like, okay, I understand your reasons. Or even like in a good situation, you don't see it coming, like you predict too much in your own self, like you do not include that person in the story that you both are sharing, because you're like, I know you, I can just read you, I don't need you to be there. So you become super hyper independent, because you feel like you can just read the room or whatever, and too much of anything is not a good thing, and that backfired for me badly. Relying so much on my emotions, and that like really led my life on a very 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 bad spiral down the drain. Okay, now along with that came a taste for the books that should not be that easily available. Yeah, and to a child of standard 10th 9th, that shouldn't be available, that should not be you shouldn't be reading the content like that. And then you develop a taste for it, and then you want more of it because it gives you a dopamine hit. So I read a lot about uh, pretty dark things that's happening in the world, and it really fucked me up. And I was already in a dark place, so that's the kind of energy that I resonated. Like I was in my life like a very depressed state. And as I told you, I had no fun because I didn't know how to do the fun, because I was stopped earlier on from having any kind of fun. So later on, I didn't know how to enjoy myself. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I like. And I think to some point I still don't. I feel like I've just started exploring what I like, and I sometimes feel it's so late. I'm 23, I'm gonna be 24 soon, and it's so late. Oh my god, it's so late, bro. But anyways, so I don't have. I used to be like. That also made me in a good way opinionated, by the way, reading so much. But at the same time, then you get a taste for things that you should not be having a taste for. Now, it can be dark, twisted, and then there's this books on too much physical attraction. Then there are books on psychology and concepts that you shouldn't be thinking of at that kind of age. Okay, and then that really messed with my head, and I didn't feel that way at that time. I didn't understand that this is messing with my head that much, because then I'm like, okay, if I can bend my morals to this point, how further can I go? Like, what else can I justify? What else can you like? I feel our generation has this weird weird attachment to villains, and they just like justify it like, okay, the villain arc starts, this pushed him into becoming a villain or something like that. And we do not give enough credit to the hero. So there's this very famous line going on Book Talk, that a hero would sacrifice the world for you, but a villain would the hero would sacrifice you for the world, but a villain would sacrifice the world for you. And I don't know, do you want that person? What if you are no longer that person in that person's life? Like, you're not that person he destroys the world for, and someone else becomes that person. So you do understand how easily that is, how fickle that person is, and how easy that is to just let go. So we do not punish the bad now. Like in a lot of literature, there's not enough consequences to the bad person. I do not understand that. I sympathized, like, the first of all, that series. I did not understand how is this series even aired. The series that I'm talking about is Dragons, that one. Targaryens, Game of Thrones. Sorry, I forgot the name. That series is so messed up. Like, I don't know if anybody should be watching that. I mean, the concepts that they talk about, and it gives you a sense, the way it is pictured, that that's how our history was it? And even if it was, why we have come past it. And but I do like one thing about that series is the ending. I do support the ending, because I mean, I do not fine, let's not talk about that series, but anything, I do not think that we are giving enough credit to the heroes. We like our characters grey at this point, and I don't think you understand how much effort it takes to be the white person. Oh my god, this is a very wrong thing to say, not that in that tone. I mean, to be the person of morals, to be that person who's respect, because respect comes above all, and to have enough strength to live with your morals, because the person who's bending their morals are person who are not strong enough to live with it. See, a person who has a talent and can earn their living through their talent, they do not have to play the dirty office politics or like something like that these days. So because I feel like that is the easier way to go around things, so I do not think you should be giving so much more credit to a villain, because a hero might have similar bad stories in their past and still take a decision that will be selfless, and that will be, but I don't see that reward even in like superficial world. Fuck the real world. Even for superficial worlds, we are more sympathizing with, people are sympathizing with Thanos, like, yeah, it makes sense now. I mean, like, guys, come on. I mean, I understand, okay? So anyways, I was that one person who would sympathize with Thanos. His points make sense to me and everything. And at the same time, this is my thinking. I know that is wrong. I know that me accepting the darker side of humanity and emotions, and that I feel that comes from depravity. Like, you are deprived of the real fun in life, of real emotions in life, and that's what pushes you to thinking that there is glory into pursuing the emotions that are not the right emotions to pursue. So you are not fulfilled in life, that's why you're going in that direction. And I genuinely do not want to be the person who understands the villain, because there's a reason that person was a villain, right? So, but the thing is, I was that person, I still am to a certain point that person. Honestly, that is what's there at the my consciousness. Understanding too much, you forgive too much, but you don't reward enough. You don't reward the people who are being good. You just you keep forgiving because you want to be forgiven, because that's a reflection of you see yourself as someone who has to bend the rules to go forward, because you cannot go forward by yourself on your own. So I don't know, so I read about a lot of things which should not be justified. Like, life shouldn't be twisted that way, and finding meaning and beauty and this aesthetic and this, I don't know, this beauty is what I can say into things that shouldn't be beautiful to you. Like, romanticizing everything is not okay. Okay, romanticizing good things is okay, bad things is not okay. And I don't know, I'll tell you, I'll tell you, what did I read? I feel like some stories you should know, like, you shouldn't. Because you are not going to come across that story, but when you read that story from a person who has went through that breaks your mind. So I read a story about a person who was trafficked as a kid, and he was part of videos made of him as a kid with another kid, and how that broke that person definitely is broken and can't cope. So he or she is allowed to try to find their footing, okay? But you do not have to get your brain broken like that, because you have not like experienced that. But if you read something like that, if you consume some media like that, it did break my brain. to a point where I shouldn't have, because I was not in that situation. But the decisions I would take in a survival mode, which was much worse from who I am. Okay, so yeah, like it takes away your trust from humanity. And I don't know, I just feel like I chased a lot of that, of the negativity of emotions. I chased trying to romanticize the negativity of emotions. Not romanticize, like dealing with it, playing with it, interacting with it, like depriving yourself, like depravity. I don't know if I'm saying that word right, but romanticizing that, being so depraved, I think that's the word. Anyways, being so deprived of something that you are so desperate. And I'll tell you what, if you go down that lane, you will like it. You will chase that emotion because it does feel good, because so does the good part of it, which I have never chased. But I feel like that will be too rewarding as well. But I don't see this part of it being very rewarding. It did reward you. It rewards you with negativity in your life, like negative things in your life. So I don't know how to build that back. I don't know how to change course now. I don't know how to, because my goals never laid in this direction. I am not a very complex person myself. But the emotions that I was dealing with, the things that I was consuming, the thought process that I have created is way more complex than my personality and my soul. I am not I'm very simple, and I'm all rainbows and light inside me. Honestly, my soul is like that. I feel like I am not someone who's very complex, competitive, thinks too much, or like wants think too much, makes her life too complicated. My decisions are very simple, honestly, when I'm making it for myself. But all this storyline, all this experience that was never mine, made everything very complex for me. Like my thought process became very complex, my emotions evolved too much. Like I shouldn't have, like a kid honestly shouldn't be thinking like that, shouldn't be thinking like a 50-year-old. No, the decisions that you should be making are very simple decisions that you actually want to make, because there's no place for that kind of thought process in your life. There's no decision that requires that much processing. And because you start doing that, you miss out on a lot of simple things in your life, which really builds your personality. Since my personality was not that deep, I couldn't curate it more, because my mind would in my mind it would be like too simple. Like, why are you trying this? Why are you interacting with something so simple and so ordinary, when you can have something complex, when you can have something with layers and layers and layers of meaning and emotions and understanding. And I don't know where I stand, because now uh, there are two parts of me and they don't work together. And honestly, that's making me not a non-functioning human. And for past 2-3 days, and like for years, honestly, like in literal sense, for past 3 days, I don't know how days came and how days went by. This happens in a week of living somewhat, and then I go back to that hibernation state where I don't know what's Wednesday, Wednesday night, I don't go out of my room and like that. And I don't call this actually depression. I feel like I call it in my state where I am exhausted and I don't know what to do. The way my mind works and the way I want to live are two very different things in my life, and I don't know how I want to be anymore. And I also don't know if I find out how I want to be, if I have the skill set to be that person. And even to develop that skill set, do I have the prerequisites in my life? And the skills that I do have, they do not align with any of the goals that I have in my life. So I feel like I have wasted so long of my life, like such a long time in my life, consciously, knowingly, on developing a part of my brain, of my consciousness, which is ultimately not very useful for me. And honestly, I feel like that is something that, since it's not useful and I wasted time, it actually became something negative, because it's taking away from everything that I could have had if I didn't take that decision. So a simple thing which started as reading storybooks turned into an obsession, and at this point it's an addiction. And yeah, it just pushed my brain into a place where I don't know how to, like, should I gather it back, or should I restart pushing it in a different direction and expanding my brain. And if I start from scratch, do I have time? Because it's too late. I feel like it's too late. I just graduated, I don't have a job, I'm in Bangalore, and my health is fucked. My face, skin, hair, life, most of the things are fucked. But ultimately, I'm not competitive, but I am ambitious. And the moment I realized that this is a situation with me, I did started or slowly pushing myself in a direction which is good for me, aligns with me, developing my skill set into the direction that will help me develop further skill sets that will lead me to my goal. This is going to be a long and a tedious process, and I don't know, it keeps pulling me back to a state where I'm comfortable in, because it feels impossible to reach where I want to reach by the time that I want to reach, and the way I want to reach. I don't know if I'll be able to. So yeah, I'm stuck in a loop of, I don't know if my brain will actually break from all this pushing against it. I don't know how I'm gonna live, because it doesn't work. Nothing's working right now. Even this side's not satisfactory enough, it's not good enough, it's not bad enough. So nothing's giving me that dopamine hit anymore. And I don't do drugs, I don't enjoy it. I mean, drugs, I've never done drugs, bro, come on. Like alcohol, cigarettes, I've tried once, but I don't like. Not once. Yeah, I don't like. Or anything else, but slowly I'm starting to find out things that I like. I'm trying to uncondition my brain, and I have this, as I started this video with, that I have this thing against westernization so much that I feel like, yeah, if I choose that, I'm again developing a skill that I would later regret, because I don't need that, because ultimately I want to find my place back in myself, where I come from, truly come from, and the values. But it's not easily available, because it is buried like deep inside layers and layers of subtle westernization and overthrown empires. And I feel like it has become way too influenced, and thereby we have taken out the easy meanings from it, and therefore taking out the wrong meanings from everything. and everything has been with taken into our society with wrong uh, interpretations than what it was real. So uh, it's very hard to separate the two things. What's actually essence, true essence of it, what holds true essence, and other what's the influenced and changed and new and something like, what do I call it, like something morphed into something very different from what it was. So I don't know if I have that much time, energy, or the tools required to go around life with that values, because I don't think so my parents can provide me with that kind of sort of values. I do not think that the way my dad lived his life, I can live the same way in today's society, because the easy way out is following how the Western world is following it. I feel like that has worked for everyone, that's working for everyone, but I always have a soft corner for, I want to bring that back, the actual good flow of power and money and thoughts and creativity in our society in a circular loop, how it worked, along with the gratefulness and the respect in their own art. But we'll see. We'll see. But I don't think so that's going to be possible for me now. So I think how I am gonna work is, I am gonna stick to, I'm gonna start with maximalist personality, maximalist, like maxing out on all aspects of my personality, even if it's a small part of it. Like, I like creativity, and I'm not good at it, but I'll explore it. So whatever I like, I explore. Whatever I want, I do. What I put my fingers in 10 different things. That sounds wrong, but yeah. So just do a little bit of this, that all the time, and I think that's going to work for me. And yeah, a little bit of everything. So I need to first find myself, what I like, what I don't like, how I want to be, what I don't want to be, what I want to do, what I don't want to do, what food I like, what places I like, what music I like, how what values I have, what kind of friends I want, what kind of be friends I want to be, and yeah, how I want to spend my time, what are my hobbies, what are my, very few people who have knowledge, curated some things, know things, have tastes. Yeah. And another thing that inspires me to be this, I feel like that fits right into my thing, I feel, is subtle maximalism. Subtle but obsessive. And I feel like, I what I understand that aesthetics where it matches is um, Japanese culture. I don't know much of it, but baseline what I understand is they obsess. These people are obsessed people, but they still keep it so subtle. Like, I don't understand. Tea making can be an art. Like, how can serving tea be an art? I don't. How can making a paintbrush be like 1,000-year-old tradition? मतलब इसमें ऐसा क्या है? But then you look at it and you're like, okay, I understand. I understand why you are charging so much. I understand the fulfillment on your face, and I'm jealous of it. So yeah, I love it. At the same time, you can see opposite of this, I would say, is something in Europe, very on your face, flamboyant. and very loud and very expressive. That's also like something that I do like. I'm not saying that Japanese culture is not a maximalist culture. Although they seem very minimalistic, but it's not. It's maximalistic in terms of efforts that are put into it to show that it's not loud to a person with not the eyes for it. Not everybody can decipher like what's happening there, but a person, I feel like I only know this through, I've not interacted with a single Japanese person or a European, like a French kind of person. I have not. Yeah, you know what would be opposite of actually Japanese culture? That would be like, what? I think that would be like LGBTQ society. They're just so loud and out there, like especially I'm talking about no color, nothing, just pure wood, unpolished ऐसे type से. And another thing that I like is a lot of art and sunlight. Okay, but I also like a lot of things that have a lot of meaning and story behind it. Things, pretty things, not pretty things in sense that they look pretty to your eyes or to your senses. I think it should appeal more to my brain and my heart than my eyes, my touch, or my taste. And I think that sells a lot to me, and I think that is very Japanese, I think. So not just sentimentally, like logically also. So something very simple can hold so much more meaning. So yeah, something like that. There's so many things that I always told myself you can't do, because I always saw these like there's only few dancers that can come out of a single class or a section, right? Not everybody can be a dancer or a speaker. I wanted to be a speaker, you know. Phone storage almost full. So phone में बहुत सारी memory delete करने के बाद unnecessary videos basically. We can talk for 5 more minutes. So where was I? Yeah, I was talking about maximalism, like the kind of personality that I'm pushing for. So I definitely want to be it girl, wala thing. That is something that I like. Another thing that I like talking in broad perspectives, some perks of it. Like I feel like that is going to be a center of it, the it girl thing. But it's not working out in my favor. Have I just picked it because of a trend? Or do I really want it? I don't know. We'll try and we'll find out, because सोच के दिमाग एक्सप्लोर करके तो नहीं पता चलेगा, शरीर चला के ही पता चलेगा. Now another thing that I like is this loud Indian maximalism, and another that I like is Indian maximalism in sense of like hyper stacks of jewelry and loud colors and fun creativity activity, like super duper creative and quirky and this nerdy and like that. And another thing that I like is obviously, as I told you, like subtle, graceful, elegant. And the final aesthetic that I like is super academic, like well read, fine, polished, articulate, refined manners and everything that comes into elegant, but at the same time well educated, like about through and through about everything from science to politics, everything. Okay. And then there's another part which I feel like which can be like which can become the center of it or might not be me at all. and that is the main character, loud, party, and that kind of energy. uh, I am impulsive, I am very fun when I am having fun, but I don't know if I'll ever fit into that center of something, because I don't like that part, honestly. Until and unless that the whole circle includes only of me, then I would be okay being the center. But I don't like being a center a lot of times because that's just not me. But I don't know, maybe that's just conditioning as well. But yeah, loud in the sense of like partying, going out, super chatty, extrovert, that kind of energy. I don't think so. I can be that person because right now I am an ambivert leaning towards an introvert, but but sometimes I'm like super extroverted, and but I'm still not sure about that. I feel like the more I explore my personal person, maybe that's something, that's who I am. I'll find out later. I don't see that happening a lot, but yeah. So those are the three, four things that I want to explore, and definitely there's music in somewhere there. Because I find I need to find a way to express myself, and that is not just words, because words are what, like the most raw, unrefined form. I don't like it. I like it, but like overusing it is not. It's not cool. It's not pretty. So we will find prettier ways to express ourselves. And I wish I could dance in a lehenga, but I can't. Not lehenga, ghagra, but I can't. So next best thing is another things that I can do with words, and that is singing. So maybe I'll learn singing. Maybe I'll also learn a little bit of art, and maybe I get to be creative through creating these videos. But I don't want my whole personality to be this. I want to be more. I want to be so much more, because I like being so much more. And I'll tell you something very interesting that I like. So I love rockets, and that is very different. I love rockets to the point where